Hello everyone and welcome to the Excel 2007 version of our Excel workshop series. I'm Bob DeLamartre, the instructor for the course. Today we're going to look at the learning objectives for the basic formatting lesson here. We've got 9 basic objectives. They are selecting data with a keyboard shortcut, formatting numbers in your cells, using the center and auto fit function in Excel, which is going to save you a lot of time, merge and center the headings, using bold text and improved spacing, applying fill color and border alternatives, formatting format painter tricks, which once again can save you a whole lot of time, removing unwanted grid lines, and finally, using the comment box. So those are our objectives. Let's just jump right into our basic formatting worksheet. Now you can see that we've got a small database here, and boy is it ugly. How many of you have seen databases presented to you like this, and you're supposed to decipher what it's all about? Well, I guess you can, but it certainly isn't very pleasant to look at, and not very easy to view. So we're going to do some basic formatting here, and the first thing we've got to do is select your data. Now, there's different ways to do things in Excel. In fact, there's probably any number of ways of doing nearly everything in Excel, but we're going to show you some of the easier ways of doing it. Now, to select this database, you could take your mouse and just drag it across here carefully so you've got the entire database selected. But if you've got 20,000 rows of data and maybe 32 columns in your database, it would be pretty time-consuming and cumbersome to try to do that. So I'm going to show you how to do this easily with any database of any size. Just select any one individual cell. Like in this case, we're selecting cell C12. And as we've talked about before, the name of your individual cells are determined by, first of all, what column they're in this case C, and then what row they're in this case 12. So that would be cell C12. And you could pick any cell here when you're going to select the entire database. So let's just select that cell here, go Control Shift on your keyboard and asterisk. Control Shift asterisk. Hold down the Control button, the Shift button, and then click your asterisk, and bam, you've got the entire database selected. Pretty cool, huh? You'll want to go home and tell your friends about that tonight. Well, let's start off by using center and auto fit here, our auto fit. Now you can see how the Unitrend Insurance Company auto annual results bleeds off into the next column, and some of these are kind of in clumsy shape here. Let's do things like that. Boy, are they ugly, really bad. Well, we could, just manually shift things around here by moving the column lines, to make it fit, but we're going to use the auto fit function. And how we do that is just select the column headings here, B, C, D, and E, just by taking your mouse and scrolling across there. And then, when you put your mouse right in between two of the headings, like between the B and the C here, or between the C and the D, and so forth, when you do that, your mouse arrow turns into a double-headed arrow with a straight up and down line. That shows that it's all set for some auto-fit action. So let's do that. Let's put our mouse in between C and D until it turns into a double arrow, and then just double-click on your left button of your mouse. And wow, look at that. It's separated everything out really nicely. Everything fits in their cells really well, with the exception of course, as you might say, hey, Bob, what about column B? Well, yes, what's happened is it's looking at the Unitrend Insurance Company annual results as being the item it wants to fit to. Naturally, it wants to fit to the widest item. And you're going to not want that result, so we're going to use the center the merge and center heading section here. And how we do that is we're just going to take and drag across here on the unicycle insurance company from B6 over to E6, and then go up to our home page, home tab right up here on the top on our Excel 2007 ribbon, and go over to the alignment tab right down here, and right here is the merge and center tool. So let's just pop on that, and that automatically merges your cells from C, or I should say from B over to E, and centers your heading, in this case Unicycle Insurance Company annual results. So, very cool, huh? Now you say, well, we still got that big wide column B. What are we going to do about that, Bob? Well, you can manually adjust it, of course, but in this case, let's use our auto fit again. Put your cursor up in between B and C, double click, and bam, back to normal here with a nice column. Okay, pretty cool. Now let's do a little formatting of our cells and using some borders and so forth. And once again, let's select our entire database by simply selecting one cell. And once again, you go Control-Shift-* to select your entire database. And then let's put in some border lines. Let's go up to our font, our general area here on the Home tab, and go to the borders, and let's choose all borders from the drop-down list. Now let's put some nice borders right around everything. Boy, it's already starting to look better, doesn't it? Well, very good. Now, let's format some of the numbers in the cells. Now, you see, we've got premiums and expenses and losses. And you could format those to dollars, because obviously they're dollars, and by selecting those numbers in those columns, you can do that and right-click on that area of data. One thing we're going to be talking about a lot in this course is that right-click is our friend. Right-click most certainly is our friend because it gives you drop-down menus that are very easy to access in that way. So we're going to do right-click and go down to Format Cells, and that will bring up another little dialog box. And you can see that we've got different choices under the category for the number. We can use date, time, percentage. We've got all sorts of different choices. Well, we could use currency here, and in this case, we could put in dollar signs then for all of these sections. Now, that's nice, but you know what? For our purposes, everybody knows that we're talking about dollars, and those dollar signs just make it a bit more difficult to read, doesn't it? It's always good sometimes to take a good look at your data, at your table, at your worksheet that you're creating, and decide really what does work best. So let's not do that. Let's select that again. Go right-click, because right-click is our friend. Go to Format Cells, and just choose Number. And you'll notice that you've got a choice of decimal places. Well, you certainly don't want to show the pennies, because that's not important in this case. So let's choose 0 decimal places. And let's use make sure that the use 1000 separator, the commas between 1000 marks on your numbers, is checked, and click OK. Okay, very good. Well, we're making progress. Now let's add a little color to this, a little pizzazz. Now, what's really important, of course, when you're doing your worksheet is make sure you understand the needs and sensibilities of the people that you're designing it for. If you're designing a worksheet or a report which is going to be seen by the executives of the company, chances are they probably aren't going to want to go for any wild and crazy colors like bright yellows or chartreuse greens or pinks or baby blues. They're going to want something a little bit more conservative to look at. Probably want something more in the gray category or just minimal color. When in doubt, use gray. Use a light gray because that's always a good choice. So let's let's choose unicycle insurance company header here. And first, before we add the background color, let's bold that item. So let's bold that, and you'll see that, well, now it's kind of tight, isn't it? Made it rather tight. So what do? Well, we select those columns again and do a little auto fit. And sometimes it doesn't work quite the way you want, so you just spread it out a little bit. And we've got our columns all set to go. Now let's put in a light gray in that row for our title. And how we do that is we just go up to our fill color right up here on the ribbon and choose a light gray. Yeah, it looks nice. Oh, yeah, it's looking good. Let's do the same with the months, January through December. And since you've got that selected now, you can just click on there. And then for the headings for the individual columns, let's use a different color. Let's get just slightly crazy here, but still pretty conservative that even the execs will appreciate, and just go with a tan. Okay. Now, that's one more thing. Let's center those column headings, because column headings, anytime you have a header, probably should be centered just for the sake of a good overall design of your report. So let's select those cells and go up to our alignment, and you see this one right here, just center, and that centers that. Let's put a little bold action there too. Okay, good. Well, things are looking much better. We've selected our data. We've done some formatting of the numbers in the cells. We used auto fit and centering and the merge and center heading. We used a little bold text and improving the spacing and some fill color. Now let's put a heavy border around our entire database. So let's select our entire database, Control-Shift-*. Let's go up to our borders once again. Now you'll notice if you look about halfway down here, you've got a thick box border. And that doesn't have the interior lines, just the exterior lines. Let's click on that. And you see that puts a nice bold border around our report, makes it really stand out and look a little bit more professional. That's a matter of opinion, of course, and you can use your own opinion in that regard. Let's now look at Format Painter Tricks. This is really a nice tool. Let's say, for instance, that we wanted to have all of our numbers be bold in our entire database here. So let's make this number right here in cell C8 bold just by selecting that cell and going up to our bold button. And let's say that for some crazy reason we wanted them all bold asterisk, and we wanted a background of light green. Now, I wouldn't suggest this if you were actually designing something for an executive or a manager, but it's certainly, I'll show you a tool that really makes things easier if you were to do this. Let's say you've got one cell formatted just the way you want. You think, doggone it, I wish I would have done that with all the cells. Well, have no fear, we've got a little shortcut here. Let's select that cell that's formatted just the way you want. And let's go up to the Format Painter icon up here. You notice that's a little brush. Since it's a Format Painter, the Excel creators have decided to make it into a paintbrush painter. Get it? Cute. Let's click on that. Now we've got our paintbrush selected. You'll notice we've got a little paintbrush here. And all we have to do is just paint the part of our database that we want to be formatted just like that cell that we selected. And bam, here we go. You've just selected the entire database just exactly the way that that first cell was formatted. Well, let's go over here in G8 here and just type in a couple of numbers. Can be anything at all. And let's format that to just plain no fill, but we'll put a border, simple border around it. And let's say that, well, gosh, here this database that someone else created has all this funky green color and asterisk and bold on the numbers, and I just want it to be plain, ordinary numbers. Well, you could select the entire thing and put in your own formatting, or if you've got a cell which is already formatted just exactly the way you want, you can select that. Like we've got our 56,565 here. Let's select that. Go up to Format Painter once again, click there, and then just paint our database, and bam, back to the exact way we want to show it. Now you notice in so doing we've lost our bold border around the exterior. Well, let's just select that entire database again and go back and put that on. Not a big deal. Pretty easy. Well, good. Let's take this out. Here, let's delete that. Just Shift. There we go. Remember, right-click is our friend. All I did was right-click on that cell, go down to delete, and away it went. Simple as pie. Okay, now we've got our table, and you'll notice that all of these default grid lines are in here, so the table doesn't stand out quite as well as if it were just against the blank background. So we're going to go up to our view here, our View tab. This is different in 2007 than it was in 2003. And you'll notice over on Show Hide we have the grid lines checked. We'll uncheck that and bam, away we go. We got rid of all those extraneous grid lines. Makes it a lot easier to look at. Well, pretty cool. Well, we've done a lot here so far on this lesson, but we have one more thing to look at. And that is the comment box. How do we insert a comment box? So let's go over to Losses and right-click, because right-click is our friend. Go down to Insert Comment. And let's say, for instance, that we want to make a comment explaining to the user of this report, which will help explain a little bit more about what's involved in the report itself. Now you'll notice that when I did this, it put my name automatically there. That's because this computer is registered to me. Well, I'm going to take that out because nobody really cares who created it in this case. And let's put in a little message to the user. Let's type in does not include IBNR. Now for all of you claims folks out there, you probably know that IBNR stands for incurred but not reported. Let's select that right there and go up to Home and do a little improved formatting on that. Let's make that bold, and let's just make our comment box a little shorter here. I think we have to backspace one to bring it up to the top. And there we go. We've got a nice little comment box. Now, if you want it to be there all the time, you can. But what is a lot more interesting is if you hide the comment. So you can go right-click on your cell, which you have for losses heading, the E7, and hide the comment, and there you go, it's gone. You say, well, what good is that, Bob? Now the person looking at the spreadsheet won't be able to see that note. What good does it do? Well, what's neat about that is anyone who's familiar with Excel and familiar with the comment feature of Excel will notice that there's a little red triangle. You see that in cell C7 right in the losses cell? There's a little red triangle there in the upper right-hand corner. If you just hover over that, your comment just appears temporarily while you're hovering over that cell and then goes away when you're not. So it doesn't make your report all ugly and with a lot of extra clutter. It just puts that there in case the user needs to understand a little bit more, and then they can just hover over it, and they'll recognize that, of course, like I say, by the red triangle. So that's how you use a comment box. Really a nice feature for adding a little additional information. And that's about all that we're going to do with this lesson. I really appreciate your taking the time to view this video, and as always, if you ever have any questions regarding this lesson or any of the others, or any question in Excel in general, you can always contact me. Thanks very much.